This is a moment Taylor Rogers says she'll never forget. She's getting arrested by Santa Fe police after trying to drop her son off. This is the focus of a lawsuit against the city of Santa Fe and the police department.
Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here, New Jersey Exposed. Today is Friday, May 17, 2024. Time is 9:52 a.m. Jersey time, all right? Well, once again, we got another great story that's demonstrating how police think about women. As we all know, there's a large amount of police officers out there that have issues with women. They act violently around women. They're not, women are not safe around them, and they use their badge and their uniform to attract them, and then when they get them, they abuse them. And then when they encounter them on the job, well, then they use that as an excuse to escalate and inflict injury. They like violence on women. That's the only thing I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a mommy issue or something, but it's like they get up and they have no problem inflicting injury and violence on women. Well, here we go. This story actually was submitted to me by one of our viewers out there, so thank you for the submission because I did not see the story myself. And I'm going to read it for the first time, so my reaction will be my first reaction, which will probably be the same as your reaction. Disgusted. This is reported on NBC News. I'm getting it on Yahoo. It stated that Wednesday, May 15th. And it says, Texas mom says police held their face in pile of fire ants, covering head and neck with hundreds of bite marks. And there it is. All right, let's find out. A woman accused police officers in Santa Fe, Texas, of holding their face down in a pile of fire ants, leaving bite marks all over her head and chest. And by the way, people, when I read these stories and I tell you what police department is, you need to go to that police department's Facebook page and express yourself. If hundreds of people, thousands of people slam their Facebook over this, they take notice, okay? Because they don't like being exposed. And if you just sit there and shake your head and say, oh, John, that's disgusting, it's terrible what these thugs are doing, you're not doing anything. All you're doing is feeding my video, but the video, it's not about me, it's about what's going on, and you have to take an initiative and do something. If you just go to their Facebook page and make a sarcastic remark, or just take the story and post it on and say, this is disgusting, fire these bums, you got to do it, because if you don't do it, you're just as guilty as the rest. All right, Taylor Rogers said the incident occurred August 19, 2021, while she took her son to school. Rogers alleged in a federal lawsuit that an officer came running up to her vehicle, yelling for her to stop. She, it's always out of a motor vehicle. Always has to do with a motor vehicle. I bet you. Watch. She initially filed a suit in July and amended it in January. Rogers panicked and drove the wrong way down a bus-only lane, according to the lawsuit. The suit said Rogers has mental illness and suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder stemming from a previous encounter with police. Oh, this poor woman. And here's a picture of her face with all the bite marks on it. So I got a feeling they know this woman. And even though she's got... Now, let me say in fairness to the cops. You may have a traumatic stress disorder. It does not mean you should run from the police. Because when you run from them, that's like running from a dog. The dog chases you and wants to bite you and whatever else. The suit said a second officer arrived at the scene, slammed Rogers to the ground, and handcuffed her so tight that the handcuffs cut into her skin. The officers then twisted her leg with excessive force, hogtied her, and then buried her face in a pile of fire ants, leaving the plaintiff's face and body in excruciating pain. The lawsuit is brought to prevent this from ever happening again in the future because no officer should hold a citizen down a pile of fire ants after they have already been detained, seized, the complaint said. Well, unfortunately, suing the police does not stop the police officers, the bad ones, from doing the crap that they do. All it does is punish the taxpayers until that money comes directly out of the officer's pocket. It's business as usual. Now, hopefully she can bankrupt the city. That'd be nice. That'd be a start. We could bankrupt them. Really, the best way to put a stop to these bad cops, these demonic psychopaths, is we have to public shaming and exposure. This is the #1 way we can get rid of these bad cops. because when they don't have a place to hide, you know, these psychopaths, they hide behind their badges and their little clown suits, and people say, oh, look at a nice officer, he's out there protecting his citizens. And in the meanwhile, they're not really doing that. They're propagating their violence. And obviously an officer showed up who has violent tendencies towards women. He hates his job. And I want to say that most of this is a result of cops who hate their job. They're just frustrated. They don't like it. They're just there waiting to get their pension. And the frustration of the job, it causes them to react violently, in my opinion. All right, a newly released body cam video shared by an attorney for Rogers. She is seen lying on the grass, screaming hysterically, please. Rogers yells, telling the officers that the ants are getting on her face. At a news conference Saturday, Rogers said her arrest underscores a significant issue, the absence of empathy and human compassion among some individuals in law enforcement. Well, as I've said in numerous videos dating back to whenever I've started doing this kind of stuff, is empathy and compassion is not a trait to be treasured or promoted or embraced in law enforcement, because if you have empathy, you're going to stop somebody, you're going to show up and you say, you know what, this is something stupid. I'm not going to arrest this guy or this girl over this. I'm not going to pull this. I'm not going to sit on the side of the highway and pull people over just passing through, have nothing to do with the town, not bothering anybody. Maybe they don't have an inspection sticker, or maybe there's some stupid warrant out for them for some kangaroo municipal court. See, people with empathy look beyond that, and they ask themselves, how would I feel? How should I do this? But you know, it's not a trait that's welcomed in law enforcement. They want robots. They want people who just respond and do what they're told. And I've been saying that law enforcement is riddled with narcissists. It's at every level, from the new officer right. I want to say this. When they first hire cops, I think they want to do well. I think they want to save the community, do all these wonderful things. And they quickly learn, because many officers that I've talked to have told me the same thing. They get in and they find out this is how it is, and it's not this way. You're not going to be out there saving anybody. You're going to be out there making arrests, because making arrests is how the chief gets on Facebook and tells the community what a wonderful job his department's doing. And he gives the officer an attaboy, and the motor vehicle stuff generates money for the town budget. The town depends on this money. It's figured into the budget, and it's how they get arrested, by stopping people and escalating it. And people with empathy, they don't like to do things like that. And I want to say that maybe our country, our youth, America's youth, is becoming more empathetic, because if the people not showing up for apply for police jobs is any indication of what's going on, today's youth doesn't want to be involved with this nonsense. So anyway, before I get too far off on a tangent again, Randall Callanan, an attorney for Rogers who organized a GoFundMe campaign on her behalf, wrote on the campaign that she was bitten over 300 times by fire ants and suffered immense pain. Ruben Espinoza, the police chief of Santa Fe Independent School District, told NBC affiliate KPRC of Houston that the video does not tell the full story of what happened. Espinoza, an officer at the time who responded to the school, is named as a defendant in the lawsuit, as are an officer and the city of Santa Fe. Yeah, this is the cop again. Oh, it's not what it appears to be. No, it's supposed to be or something else. You got a cop on top of a woman. She's in handcuffs. Her face and body sitting on top of an ant nest, is biting the lip and shit out of her. She's saying, hey, the ants are biting me. And what do? They don't do anything. Probably told her to shut up. I haven't watched the video yet. A lawyer for the city said Rogers' claim against the city of Santa Fe were dismissed. The city is monitoring the litigation and the court's analysis of the claim against the officer. Attorney Norman Ray Gill said. Espinoza said Rogers tried to cut to the front of the area where parents were dropping off their children. He told the station that she was apprehended by different officers a short time later and allegedly drove off the road onto the grass after the officers turned their police lights on. She turned the vehicle into a bus driveway where students are dropped off by the bus at location. See, now they're trying to justify what the violence that they did. Okay, so the lady didn't follow instructions, went down the wrong way. This is motor vehicle stuff. I could tell she was determined not to stop. So my fear was that she was going to run over someone near the school. That's what Espinosa said. So I used my vehicle to stop her vehicle from doing that. Well, what a guy, huh? Good thing she didn't take off running in the car, because they probably do a high-speed chase and run a few people over and crack into a few buildings in the process. So Espinosa accused her of being erratic and non-compliant. Of course. Espinosa said Rogers was treated with respect and professionalism during her arrest, and that there was not a visible empire. She was not abused, she said. Why would anybody believe anything? They're not going to come and say, yeah, Espinosa was a little overzealous. They're not going to do it. They're going to tell you the other side of the story and try to gaslight. This is the tactic that law enforcement does. They gaslight people. They gaslight. Lawsuit, however, says the officer were not being expelled, and that they even told Roger that her son was watching from the car. Plaintiff didn't want her son to hear her in pain, so she got quiet while she was in excruciating pain. Lawsuit said Callan, Rogers' attorney, said he wants the officers involved to be disciplined. I want the officers to pay for the lawsuit. I think that'd be a pretty good way of doing it, right? Let them pay for half of it. I don't know. Just another story of many of violence. You know, the violence is against, they perpetrate, they mean the law enforcement, the bad cops. They perpetrate violence against those weaker than them, against children, against women, against homeless people, people that have problems in life, who are lesser in the community. And this is what they do. It's just like, it's almost like they signed up for the job so they can further their career in violence against people. And I would not be surprised if you looked into their past that they probably were thugs and bullies in high school, picking on little people. Because you'll never see a video, I've yet to see one, where some cops take some 255-pound, 300-pound biker dude and throw him on the ground and beat the crap out of him. You will never see it, because these thugs, who are really just cowards, because they never do this crap to people bigger than them, they always perpetrate it on those weaker. You'll never see a video of them doing that to some big biker guy. You'll never see it. It's always somebody weaker than them, unable to fight back. I'll put the link in the description. I'm John Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed. Till next time.
And I'm here today with Taylor Rogers and members of the community, because Taylor Rogers was stopped by the Santa Fe police and for no reason thrown on the ground right into a bed of fire ants in the middle of the day, and then held there while she's screaming that there's fire ants on her. They put handcuffs on her so she can't even brush them off her face. And I just wanted to show you what this case is about. Here you go. This is just some of the ant bites, because these ant bites, fire ant bites that is, and us here in the South, we all know what fire ants are. And we know that actually, on occasion, they kill animals, and even sometimes they can kill people with enough bites. And I was counting these bites, and I stopped at 300 bites. And she can't brush them off her face, and she's telling these officers, there's ants on my face, and they don't brush them off. This was their punishment. They knew what they're doing. This was no mistake.
The morning of August 19th, 2021 stands out in my memory as a day that underscored a significant issue: the absence of empathy and human compassion among some individuals in law enforcement.
What's the concern with this particular insect?
It's a stinging hazard. When we have these ants in any given area, they do sting people and animals. They're very aggressive when you disturb their home. If you read through anything from the South, you'll hear them talk a lot about boiling out. When you touch the nest, they start to really come up very quickly, and then they crawl up your feet and legs. And once they get into position, one of them will sting you, and it releases a pheromone that tells the others to initiate stinging. So it kind of happens seemingly all at once. The other thing you'll read about a lot in the Southern literature is getting lit up, which I think is a very apt description, where you all of a sudden have all of this fire ant venom inside of you. It does burn, It feels very tingly. It burns for a little bit, and then your skin, it starts to die at the sting site, and you'll get this white pustule. It looks like a pimple. So you'll get those all over wherever you've been stung. Some people can have an anaphylactic reaction. If you are susceptible to bee and wasp venom in that way, you may need to be extra careful around fire ants if they ever get into your community.